Feeling overwhelmed by the clutter and disorganization of your classroom? Well, you're not alone. An organized classroom isn't just about the aesthetics. It's about creating a space where both you and your students can thrive. In this video, I have 6 tips for you to help you stay organized. If you're new here, I'm Rachel Vincent, and I love sharing ways to help teachers simplify their classrooms and their teaching. Tip number 1 is to create a teacher zone. Teachers often misplace things or have a lack of a designated workspace. Sometimes our small group table is covered with everything, or our teacher desk, or even just all over the classroom, our stuff is everywhere. It's understandable because we're up, moving, teaching, and we put things someplace, but having a designated space for things to go makes cleaning up and keeping your classroom organized so much easier. So whether you have an actual teacher desk or you're using a cart or a shelving system, whatever you're using to help you organize your space. I personally still have a teacher desk. I like having a place where all my stuff goes, where I know I can find those things, but making sure it has a place for my pens and sticky notes and teacher manuals, my small filing system, all those things, having a place for that makes cleaning up and finding things so much quicker. I have a whole video dedicated to how I organize my teacher space, and you can check that out in the links below if you want more information on just organizing your teacher space. Tip number 2 is to use color-coded bins or folders to organize student materials. Losing track of student materials supplies just leads to wasted time. Students can't find what they need. You can't find what they need. So assigning a subject a color is very helpful. That way you can tell students, please find your red folder, or get your red math book or your red journal, whatever you're using to help them quickly, easily find what they're looking for so that we can get started on our lesson. You can take that same color coding process and use it in your system as well, so you know that the red drawer holds all of your math copies and materials that you're going to use for your lesson that day. But by organizing it across the board where your students are color-coded the same way you're color-coded, just makes it cohesive across the classroom, and it's one less thing for you to have to remember what subject is what color. If that doesn't work for you, then find the system that works for you. If color coding is not it, pick whatever works best for you. Tip number 3 is to establish a daily reset routine. If you think back to the beginning of the year, you probably think about how beautifully organized and set up your classroom is, and now you're looking around in the springtime going, what happened? Things are going to build up without a consistent maintenance routine. So dedicate 5 to 10 minutes at the end of every day to reset your space, particularly your teacher zone space, but also build that into your student spaces as well. Give them time to reset their space. You may not be able to do that every day, but I do like to do maybe every Friday or every Monday, where we are making sure we have cleaned out our desks or cubbies, we've wiped down our tables, we are reset and ready to go. Organizing comes naturally for some people and not for others. So you helping your students in that process is the best way to keep their spaces organized, and then you doing it yourself helps you keep your space organized. Tip number 4 is to simplify your bulletin boards. Bulletin boards can be time consuming to update and maintain. So find ways that you can interchange the things on your bulletin boards but keep the same background and borders, or find ones that grow throughout the year. Create year-long bulletin boards instead of seasonal bulletin boards. You want to be able to just swap out maybe your header, the student work, just a few pieces instead of having to recreate from scratch each time. That saves you time, but also keeps your classroom visually fresh. When I first started teaching, I tried to do a seasonal monthly bulletin board and quickly found out that that was not going to work for me because my fall bulletin board stayed up until probably February. I have a whole video about bulletin board hacks to make actually setting up those bulletin boards from the get-go quick and easy so that they can look cohesive and stay up year-round. Tip number 5 is your digital organization for your teacher materials. We are in a digital world where the majority of our resources are digital. Even if they're things we're going to be printing physically for students, it's still a digital file. A lot of our textbooks and curriculum materials are now digital, and so we have to have a way to organize that and keep that from quickly becoming overwhelming to us. My number 1 tip is to use some sort of cloud-based program, whether it's Google Drive or Dropbox or iCloud, whatever system you use at school, find a way to where you can access it at home if you need to. I'm not encouraging you to work at home. However, I do know that sometimes we need to. I also know that sometimes when you're just scrolling, you find ideas that you want to save, and having a place to put that so it automatically gets organized into your files and folders. Using a cloud system is so much easier. I like to organize mine based on subject, and then within that subject is by topic. So for instance, I have an ELA folder, and then inside that I have a reading folder. Inside that I have a fiction and nonfiction. Inside those I have like theme and plot structure and main idea, so that I can find all the resources I need to teach that skill. I also have a whole video sharing how exactly I organize my Google Drive and my digital files on my computer. I'll put the links for any video in the description. Tip number 6 is to have a lost and found station in your classroom. Most schools have lost and found where coats and jackets and water bottles, but having one in your classroom for things like somebody's earbuds, crayons, dry erase markers, game pieces, random things that you know it's not trash, but you don't know who it belongs to, and nobody is claiming it's theirs. Have a place where students can go put it, so it's not junking up your space, but it's also a great place when a student says, I can't find my earbuds. Go check our lost and found box. It keeps things off the floor and keeps things in a central location where people know to look for when they have misplaced things. If you're feeling inspired to get your classroom organized, check out the video that's on your screen now where I walk you through some simple steps to get started.